Vaheguru, 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 Vaheguru,
गुरसिख मीत चलो गुर चाली, जो गुर कह सोई पल मानो, हर हर कथा निराली। हो आया दूरो चल के, मैं तक्की तो सरनाए जियो, मैं आशा रखी चित मह, मेरा सबो दुख गवाए जियो। इत मार्ग चले पाईड़े, गुर कह सो कार कमाए जियो। त्यागे मन की मतड़ी, विसारे दूजा पाओ जियो, विसारे दूजा पाओ जियो। सत्संग जी रमल के फतेह बाणी जी। वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा, वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह। So Satsang ji, this was last week we discussed the Rehat Maryada, Akaal, Takth, Sikh Rehat Maryada, and this is a two-part series. Today we're going to hopefully finish, so we'll have to go a bit fast because there's quite a lot to get through. We discussed what is Maryada last week, that it's the two sides of a river. So the Sikh is trying to flow within this river of Gurmat. And then we talked about the history of the Rehat Maryada, how it was created from 1932 all the way to 1945. Took 13 years at least to agree this document. A very small document, 32 pages. 24 of that is the Rehat Maryada itself. 8 is just the people that took part in setting it up. And that is published by the Parchaar committee of this SGPC. It's not SGPC Rehat Maryada, it's the Akaal, Takth, Sikh Rehat Maryada. They just publish it. So we agreed this over the whole Panth. We looked at what was inside it, the sections. There's 6 sections with 13 chapters, and we covered section 1, section 2 last week, which are about your personal rehat. This week we'll start to go through the rest of the four sections. So section 3 of the Rehat Maryada starts with the Gurdwara. What is a Gurdwara and how is it supposed to work? Then section 4 goes through rules and ceremonies in Sikhi, where our ceremonies like our naming ceremony, marriage, and then obviously the death ceremony, they come in there. And then chapter 12 again, section 5, very small, about Seva. And then 13, chapter 13 and section 6 basically, the last section, is all about the Panth, the Khalsa Panth. What's that all about? So section 3, the Gurdwara, it starts with, and obviously the Rehat Maryada we said is divided into chapters. So this is the 4th chapter now of section 3. And it says, what's the importance of a Gurdwara, of the Sangat? And a Sikh must come to Gurdwara. The reason for that is given in this, very clearly written out, that the effect of Gurbani upon the individual, this is what we want to happen to us, that Gurbani affects us. Amrit Bani har har teri, sun sun hove param gat meri. Bani should have an effect upon us. Just like we talked about a Sikh comes into Gurdwara, they can be like a stone, or they can be like wood, or they can be like sugar, and they can melt in that water. So it says here clearly that the Sangat actually makes the effect of Gurbani much easier and much faster. So the importance of Sat Sangat is that Gurbani can affect you more. And then it says a Sikh should find Sangat, and that in the Gurdwara there should be Prakash and Sukhasan of Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji every day. We know that. But it does make it clear, because imagine if somebody else somewhere who becomes a Sikh gets a copy. Nowadays you can just order a copy online kind of thing, and they deliver it. And you imagine they just have it Prakash all the time. So it says, no, if there's no one there to do Seva, we should do Sukhasan of Guru Granth Sahib Ji. And then it says the respect for Guru Granth Sahib Ji. How is it done? That there should be a clean place with Rumale. There should be a manji, like you see that kind of like a stool there. It's like a small bed. There should be Chandoa, which is this big green thing over here on top of Guru Granth Sahib Ji. In the houses you'll see there will be a cloth hung up. And there has to be somebody with the Chaur Sahib. So these things are part. Now these insignia, you might call them. They are royal insignia. When the king used to be going anywhere, he would have a person with an umbrella on top of his head. He would have somebody else with a whisk serving him. So Guru Granth Sahib Ji is our king, you see, Sache Pasha. Therefore, they have this royal insignia. This is all part of making people understand that Guru Granth Sahib Ji is our royal king. We respect to it. That's why we bow down to our king. So we say Chavar Takth de Malik in Punjabi. Chavar is the chor, and Takth is the throne that they sit upon. Yeah, this is what Maharaj is. And then it goes into rituals that are against Gurmat. You might have seen some of these rituals, so I'll just say them. One of them is that Aarti should not be done with incense and lamps. So where you see somebody, like if you go to Gurdwara, they will have Aarti and they will have a lot of toof, they will have lamps. And it says that this is the way that the Hindus used to do Aarti. Now it is interesting because if you go to Nihang Dere, this is what they do as well. They do this exact thing. But just so we clarify that, the Nihangs, they can do Aarti with fire or without fire as well. Most of the time in the Gurdwara, they will do it without it. But sometimes they'll stand up and they'll do it with this. But their tradition dates back to the time where the Musliman, the Mughal kingdom, had actually banned Aarti itself by the Hindus. So in order to support their Hindu brethren, they said, you know what, as a sign of, defiance to the Mughal throne, we're going to get fire. Because there was a time when the turban was banned as well. Nobody but a Muslim could wear a turban. And Guru Gobind Singh Ji said, now wear 2 turbans. And there was a time when they said that no one could ride a horse. And Guru Gobind Singh Ji said, every Singh should have a horse. So this was a sign of defiance. Yeah? And it's not that they need that fire to worship. They can go without it as well. It's just, they're just showing the defiance of any ritualism. Also, it says that what we can't do is give food to Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji. Now, we do pour of food here, don't we? The langar comes here, but the food isn't given to Guru Granth Sahib Ji. It's not kept here. We do porg, and it goes back, and it's put back into the langar. Obviously, then bringing all the food here would be impractical. So it's a representative sample. Now, it says that you can't do this burning of lights. Now, there is, what I mean by burning of lights is when people have loads of jyots everywhere. For us, that's not important. As long as Guru Granth Sahib Ji can be seen, we're in a Sangat, that's key for us. But some places do have a jyot. And I'm not going to comment too much upon that. People have decided to do this, some people decide not to, but you don't have to do it, is what it's saying. Okay? And we do obviously burn lights at Diwali, but that's welcoming back Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji when they were in prison in Gwalior. It says you can't beat gongs and stuff. And that refers back to the Hindu, in the Hindu temples they used to have these gongs and stuff. But obviously when we do Kirtan, we do Chimte and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's not the same thing. But what it's saying is what's important and what's not important, this process is about. And it says you can have flowers, you can have lights, you can have a nice smell in the Gurdwara. But that these things do not become the focus. The focus is the Shabad. And then it says that the point is that Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji is supreme. And we all know that. And it says that no book or pustak should be on Prakash alike and on par with Guru Granth Sahib Ji. So if we can imagine there was 2 manji there, and there was, say, for example, Guru Granth Sahib Ji, and some other book from some, maybe, for example, Dasam Granth Sahib might be there. That's actually against Gurmat. And I'll give you something interesting about this. If you go to Hazur Sahib, you will see that they've got a separate little manji for Dasam Granth Sahib. And actually it's smaller, and it's not as fine as the one for Guru Granth Sahib Ji. And Prakash of Guru Granth Sahib Ji happens first, and then while they're doing Asa Diwar, they do Prakash of Dasam Granth. So there is this, even the Nihangs will say that Guru Granth Sahib Ji is supreme, and they will say that it's like the head is Guru Granth Sahib Ji, and if you might say the 2 shoulders might be the other 2 Granths, Dasam Granth and Sarablo Granth. But it says clearly Guru Granth Sahib Ji is supreme. And in a Gurdwara, we can't do any idol worship. There can be no pictures, no Matha Tek into pictures. That is not Sikhi. Yeah? Matha Tek to Gurbani, if you want to. Even if you have Ik Onkar up on your wall, you can Matha Tek to that. But we don't Matha Tek to a picture of Guru Granth Sahib, of Guru Gobind Singh Ji or Guru Nanak Dev Ji. You might have seen it in Bend like Beckham, but that's not the way we do it. Okay, it also says that you can't celebrate any other faith. So we can't just decide to celebrate Christmas or Eid in a Gurdwara. We can obviously talk about it on that day, but we can't celebrate it. You know? Also, it says that different things like, for example, pressing the legs of Guru Granth Sahib Ji. You might see some people rub their nose at the front, or they go and rub their nose against a wall. This is kind of like a small form of tapasya they're trying to do here, tap samjam. We don't believe in that. The only important thing for us is Shabad. So reading Shabad, understanding it in the Saz Sangat is very key. We can't have things like water or idols in the Gurdwara. They were there at that time. There were some idols in Harmandir Sahib even. So you can imagine what the local Gurdwara had. Yeah, but we can't have that in a Gurdwara. So for us, it's all about Gurbani, Sunana, Manana, Nidyasan. Listen to it, accept it, and then do what it tells you. And it says, when Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji goes from place to place, we must do Ardas first. So when we do, for example, they do Sukhasan, they do Sukhasan, they'll do Ardas first. When Guru Granth Sahib Ji comes from down up there, down here, always starts with Ardas. And then the Granthi should be barefooted. We know that, but some people may not know that, so it just codifies this. Again, with Prakash of Guru Granth Sahib Ji, before Prakash, we do Ardas again, before the Prakash. And obviously when Prakash happens, then we get the Hukamnama. And then it says that if Guru Granth Sahib Ji comes in, like for example now, if a program finished upstairs and Maharaj came down, even if we're all sitting here and there's Guru Granth Sahib Ji here, we can't just sit here. We have to stand up because Maharaj is coming. Because they're the king. When they come in, we all stand up. Yeah, just like if you were in an important meeting and the most important person walked in, you'd all stand up as well. You can see this if you watch a newsreel of Barack Obama. When he walks in, they all stand up. That's our king. When they come in, we all stand up. In a Gurdwara, it says simple things like, take off your shoes, wash your feet if they're dirty. It says even to go around Guru Granth Sahib Ji on your right. This is a common thing. When we come into Gurdwara, we should Matha Tek. We should go around Guru Granth Sahib Ji. Do again Matha Tek, and then I'll come to this point, say Fateh to the whole Sangat. That's the way that you're supposed to do it. But the Nihangs actually go about it on the right. And this comes back to the idea that they always saw themselves as a lardli Fauj of the Khalsa. They said, you know what, everybody can do it on the right, but we're going to be slightly different. And whether you argue against them or not, they've always had this mentality, ki we are Nirali, we're going to be a little more different to the rest of them. So they do it the other way around. No one can be stopped from coming into Gurdwara. It says this clearly in the Red. So in point J, it says K, no one can be stopped coming to Gurdwara, but if they have got alcohol or tobacco on them, they can't come in. So this is something that is common in all the Gurdwara. But we can't stop someone coming to Gurdwara. Beautiful rule that they put in. Because later on you might find that some Gurdwara decides to become racist, but they can't. First thing it says is, Matha Tek to Guru Granth Sahib Ji, and then go around, look at their Sangat and say Fateh, what we just said. That. This is actually codified as well. And it says that in Sangat, no difference is allowed between a Sikh and a non-Sikh. Look at that. It's saying clearly, it doesn't matter who you are. If you're human in the Gurdwara, you're all equal. And it's written that down. So there's some really nice stuff in here as well. Just so later on we can't diverge from these original rules of Sikhi. No untouchables or caste distinctions are allowed. There's no Chut path is called. You can't just decide this person can't be touched. So we don't agree with that. And it says no one is allowed any cushions or any distinctive seat. This is why it's clever. Look at the back there. They didn't put chairs higher up. They actually put the chairs lower down. They dug a hole because no one's allowed to be any higher than anybody else. That's what they decided to do, which is why the Rehat Maryada says as well. It says no Sikh is allowed to sit in a Gurdwara bareheaded. Now, if somebody from another religion came into a big darbar, in India when they have the outdoor darbars, we don't have to quickly jump in, put a patka on that person and sort of hit him over the head or something. It's not disrespectful for them because they're not a Sikh. But for a Sikh, it is disrespectful to sit in a Gurdwara with their head not covered. It says specifically, no women are allowed to come with their parda or face covered. There's a famous story about this as well. In Guru Amar Das Ji's time, a Muslim lady came to see them. And they said that you have to remove this parda. They used to live behind the parda the whole time, their whole life was behind parda. And they said you have to come into the thing with the veil off. So the idea is in the Sikh religion, men have to control their eyes. Women don't have to cover themselves up. Obviously, they have to look a little bit decent, right? But we are the male, the onus is upon us to control our eyes, not upon the woman to cover themselves up, and so therefore we can't get enticed. It says then in the 5 Takths, the Panch Takth of the Panth, we should know them, but some people don't, so I'll just go through them. Sri Akaal Takth, obviously Shromani Takth, the main Takth for all of us, created by Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji. Okay? And it's interesting because in Harmandir Sahib, you've got Sri Harmandir Sahib, and then you've got Akaal Takht. So you've got a distinction. Most other Takhts are the same. The Gurdwara, the main Gurdwara, is both the Takht and the Gurdwara. But in Darbar Sahib, it's not that way. They split. And it says, Takht Patna Sahib, which is obviously the birthplace of Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj. Takht Sri Kesgarh Sahib in Anandpur, that's the birthplace of the Khalsa. This Kesgarh is obviously with the Kesh, when they were written. That's when the Khalsa was founded. So that's the 3rd Takht. Takht Sri Hazur Sahib, which is in Maharashtra. This is where the Gurgadi was given to Guru Granth Sahib Ji in 1708. And then finally, the 5th Takht is written Takht Sri Damdama Sahib, okay, which is in Talwandi ne Bathinda in Punjab. What's interesting is, Damdama Sahib was made a Takht in 1966. Before that, it was not a Takht. Okay, just so everybody's aware of the history of this. Before that, the Nihang Singhs would say that the Panjava Takht is the Buddha Dal himself. And wherever it was, so even now on their documentation, that's why sometimes it's good to talk about this, because if we don't talk about it here, someone's going to find out about it on online or something, on Google, and they'll say, oh, they didn't know about that. The 5th Takht was created, but before that, the Buddha Dal Jahdar used to be the Jahdar of the Akaal Takht as well. So they called themselves the Panjava Takht. And it was called Chalda Vahir. It's always roaming around. Chakravarti. Now, it says that only Amritaris can go into the body of the Takht. The little, like the main room of the Takht. Only if you're Amritari, you can go in there. Because effectively the Takhts are the kind of kingdoms of the Khalsa. Yeah, the Khalsa rules from the Takht. So therefore, only they're allowed to go inside there. But anybody can be, ardas for anybody can happen there. So an Amritari could go there and do ardas for anybody. But they can't do an ardas for somebody who's a tankhaiya. Somebody who's rejected the panth and walked away, you can't do ardas for them because they have to come themselves to the Takht. Now here's interesting. Nowadays our Nishan Sahibs are Kesri. Yeah? But it says here, the Nishan Sahib can be of 2 colors. Basanti, which is a lot more yellow than Kesri. It's pretty much just basically yellow. And it can be of this darkish blue color. Okay? So they can be basically how the Nihang Singhs now, they'll have blue Nishan Sahib. They used to be in Harmandir Sahib, 2 big Nishan Sahibs. One was always orange and one was always blue. One was Basanti and one was always blue. Because in the old days, Nishan Sahib used to be blue as well. So it's recognized in here. When you see that, people argue about it. Don't. It can be either color. Nothing wrong with it. And at the top of them, they should have either a spearhead or a khanda. The top of Nishan Sahib. And there should be a Nagara in the Gurdwara. We haven't got one in this Gurdwara, but there should be a Nagara. Nagara is like a massive drum. It's not like a normal toll. It's big. You need 2 hands to beat it. And when they have the Nagar Kirtan, they have a Nagara. Why the Nagara? Why does it have to be in a Gurdwara? Nagara used to be a royal thing as well. When the king was walking in, the Nagara would beat. It's basically like, hear ye for everybody. Yeah? Stand up, everybody listen. This is what's going to happen now. That's a royal thing. So in those days, the Ranjita Nagara was actually one of the biggest Nagaras, famous in our Panth. The Mughals had banned anybody else from having Nagara. Maharaj said, we will have one as well, thanks. Yeah. So then it goes into chapter 5, still part of the 3rd section, about Kirtan. And it says, only a Sikh can do Kirtan in the Sangat. So if somebody liked Kirtan, they came in and decided, but they were not a Sikh, they wanted to sing Kirtan anyway, we wouldn't, it says here you can't. But we know there's a history, right, of the Muslims singing Kirtan, even in Darbar Sahib. Okay? So this rule, the Panth agreed it, but there's a history behind it that doesn't exactly agree with that history. But that's what it says now. But what's interesting is next it says, what is Kirtan? It says Kirtan is singing Shabads in Rag. Yeah? It says clearly that singing in Rag is what Kirtan is. The real shame nowadays, actually, in our Panth, you're very lucky to listen to Rag Kirtan. Yeah? Mostly, we don't even listen to Shabad, Kirtan and Rag. Ends up being in whatever tune someone has ripped off somewhere else and just put some Shabad, twisted it around to fit the tune. And it could be the wrong tune. When we say Rag Asa, that means that Shabad is meant to be sung in Rag Asa. So there are some great projects right now trying to bring back the Rag tradition into Sikhi. And it's the duty of every Sikh, and we'll come to that later on, to support those people that are trying to bring a revival of Rag Kirtan into our Panth. Because this is the way it was meant to be done. Otherwise, we might as well stop saying Rag Asa Mahalla Pehla. We might as well say Mahalla Pehla. Because the Rag Asa is being given as a hukam. So we should learn Kirtan in Rag. And even if we don't know how to do it, we should try to listen to it. Because for me, it's a bit like an acquired taste. When you first listen to it, it's hard. You think this is not the thing I'm used to. But if you spend more time listening to it, you enjoy it more. The ras comes. So exposure is important. So listening to Ragis like, for example, by Balbir Singh, famous, Panthik Kirtani in Rag, they were honored recently. Those are the things that we should be trying to exposing our mind to, so we understand this parampara that Guru Sahib set up. Obviously, we can sing tunis as well. Like we have tunis like us. Asa Diwar is written in Tunde Saji Ki Tuni. So these are tunis that are also accepted. It says Kirtan is only this. Kirtan of Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, Guru Gobind Singh Ji's Bani, Pai Gurdas or Pai Nandlal can be done from a stage. Nothing else can be sung from a stage. Now some people nowadays twist this. They go and say that only Kirtan from Guru Granth Sahib Ji or Pai Gurdas or Pai Nandlal can be sung on a stage. That's a lie. It says here, Kirtan is Bani of any of the 10 Gurus. Okay? And it says actually that it's improper to just start adding your own Bani into Kirtan. But, people from, especially from Sant Samaj, they end up using just their own little Shabad. That's Kachi Bani really. So we know at some level it shouldn't be done that way. And it says it here, it shouldn't be done that way. If they do it, it's on their head. There's loads of little rules we might break here or there. They might use it because they think that's better. I don't know. It says here, the Panth decided, if you're going to use Pankti for singing, use something from the Shabad. Don't just make up your own line. But I guess the test is it according to Gurmat? Now, chapter 6 talks about Hukamnama. A lot of people get confused about this, but how do I take Hukamnama from Guru Granth Sahib Ji? So it's written down. First, in this chapter, it says, what is it to do darshan of Guru? We come to Gurdwara to do darshan of our Guru. What does that mean? It says here clearly, darshan means Matha Tek into Guru Granth Sahib Ji. Then, looking at the Sad Sangat, doing Fateh to the Sad Sangat obviously, and then taking Hukamnama. Those three things together mean darshan of our Guru. So remember when we said last week that a Sikh should try coming to the Gurdwara and taking Hukamnama from Guru Granth Sahib Ji every day. It means to do darshan of your Guru. That's what it actually means. That's why it's included here, because why take Hukamnama? Because Hukamnama is part of doing darshan of our Guru. And it also says, you can't just lift up the Rumalle, have a look at Guruji, and then put it down. If you're going to peel back the Rumalle, take a Hukamnama. Okay? And it says that only one thing should be done in the Gurdwara any one time. We talked about this last week. At the moment, what you've got is something like, these new Java concurrency programs, software. They have like multitasking going on. That's what's going on in a Gurdwara. They've got Kirtan at one place, somebody else is doing a Saj part, somebody else is doing a Akhand part, and they've got so many different things going on at the same time. That's not the way it's meant to be. It says here clearly, should be only one thing at the Gurdwara at any one time, either Kirtan or Katha or Akhand part or a talk. You can do lectures as well. Right? But only one thing at a time. So the Sangat can actually focus upon one thing. And then it says that only a Sikh should do Chaur Sahib Seva. Just so we're aware of that. By the way, a lot of people think that if you're a woman, you shouldn't do Chaur Sahib Seva. I've heard that directly from women in this Gurdwara as well. That they think that they shouldn't be doing Chaur Sahib. No. It says here clearly, any Sikh, male or female, Amritari or not Amritari, Monna or not Monna, can do Chaur Sahib Seva. Feel free to step forward and do Chaur Sahib Seva from your Guru. If you Matha Tek to Maharaj, you can do Seva of Maharaj as well. It says only a Sikh is to read Guru Granth Sahib Ji to other people. So for example, somebody who might not be a Sikh can read for themselves. That's fine. But in a Gurdwara, if we're reading to other people, it should be a Sikh. It shouldn't be somebody who can learn Punjabi or somebody, but there's not really a Sikh. And that makes sense because the pausing and how you say something can change the meaning. If you haven't really believe in Gurbani, you might twist it, you see. So it's saying that if you listen to other people, you have to be a Sikh. It says that when you do Hukamnama from Guru Granth Sahib Ji, what you do is, you do Prakash Maharaj, and then you read the Hukamnama from the top left, okay? Top left of Maharaj. If that Shabad goes back to the last page, then you go back to the page before, and you start from where the Shabad started. So the top left is always where you start from. You don't just decide, I'm going to pick the third Shabad from the top, or the second Shabad from the top, or I'm going to go on the right hand side. It's always top left, wherever Shabad there is. Some Shabads are part of a var. A var is basically constructed by sloks, by a paudi. So you have slok mahalla, slok mahalla dua, slok mahalla tija, and then you'll have paudi, like we have in Asadivar, very common. You have sloks and paudi. If you come to a slok, or you come to a paudi, then you have to go back to the very beginning of the first slok. So you go through all the sloks, and then come to the paudi, and that's where you finish, where it's finished with Nanak, because the paudi will always have Nanak inside it. Just for your interest, Baba Harnam Singh, for example, somebody who I already recognize, I love his book. He himself asked this question, and the answer came from Baba Buddha Ji. Baba Buddha Ji came to him, did darshan, and explained to him, that's how it should be done. So this is exactly what is in that book as well. This is the codified way, and it comes back from Baba Buddha Ji was the first Granthi of Ad Granth Sahib at Guru Arjan Dev Ji's time. So this is how it was done back then. Nowadays though, all the Granths, all the Guru Granth Sahib Jis are printed. So it's always the same Shabads. But in those days, people used to write them by hand. And they weren't always 1430 angs. Some could have been a much longer. Somebody's got big handwriting or different smaller pages. There was no set number of pages. But it was always the same way. And we should try ourselves, if we can learn to write Gurbani, to write Gurbani. Maharaj says, ki likho. It's nice to likh naam. Maharaj says that in Bani as well. Okay, then it goes on talking about Akhand part and Sahaj part. It says that every single person should try and have Guru Granth Sahib Ji in their house. If we can, we should have Maharaj at home. Obviously, it builds our relationship with Maharaj if Maharaj is right there. First thing we do in the morning, we're going to do Prakash, aren't we? We're going to have Ishna and then do Prakash. It says that every Sikh should all try to learn Gurmukhi, and in order to learn Guru Granth Sahib Ji. It's not enough that our Punjabi schools teach in Punjabi. They should be having Santhya, and they should be doing Seva of reading Guru Granth Sahib Ji themselves. If you're a Sikh who can't read Gurmukhi, then start. Start to read, start to learn. Every Sikh, it says, should take Hukam in the Amrit Vela before breakfast. If we don't get to do that before breakfast, then we should try during the day to listen to some Sahaj part or some part from Guru Granth Sahib Ji. Come to Gurdwara, listen to some Gurbani, separate from our nitname, on top of our nitname. But if you can't do that because you're traveling, don't have a guilt complex. It's alright. Okay? We're very practical people as well. It says then that a Sikh should try and keep a Sahaj part going at all times. Now if you can't read Gurmukhi, and we said you're going to start, still try and read it in English every day a little bit. Just take Hukam or try and read. It says that ideally, within a month or every 2 months, we should do one Sahaj part of Guru Granth Sahib Ji. Nowadays, obviously, people might find that a bit strenuous, but it says that even whenever, we should try and keep our Sahaj part going. And when we finish a Sahaj part means in your own time. It means doesn't sit down and go through the whole way. It's called Sadharan part or Sahaj part. But if we are going to, when we finish, when we start, we read Chhe Pauris of Anand Sahib, do Ardas, and then read Japji Sahib. Okay, it says, what is an Akhand part? An Akhand part is not a ritual. Yeah? It should be listened to, we just discussed that. It shouldn't be at any point where you've got an Akhand part happening but no one listening. But also it says, it's for happiness or for sad times. It's not compulsory that soon as something happens, you must do a Akhand part. It's whenever you are happy, you can do one, or when you're sad, you can do one. It normally takes 48 hours, but there's no rule about this. Don't feel obliged. It says it clearly. The key thing is, part should be listened to properly. Reading it too fast, unclearly or improperly is actually disrespectful. It says it clearly. The key thing is that we should be able to understand it. If you've been to Sukhni Sada part, where the party is just racing through, yeah, that's beadbi. Yeah, because no one's going to understand it. So this is not the way it should be done. And it says clearly, pay attention to akhar and to the matra. Matra is the what you might call vowels, but it's not really the right word. But you might call them so kakka and then ka, you know, all the different uda, ada, the sehari, bihari, you know, onkar, dlonkar, those things. Next it says, if you're going to do an akhand part, you should do it yourself. You and your own family should do the akhand part. It doesn't say here what you should do on akhand part is phone the Gurdwara up and get them to come around your house and do it. It doesn't say that. It says if you're going to do an akhand part, you and your family should do it yourself. Yeah? If you can't do it, invite more people in who are from the Sangat to come and do it as well. It's not a party's job from a Gurdwara to do the akhand part for you. You should do it yourself. But if you can't do it, then you can get a party in. Okay? Last resort basically is going to Gurdwara. Not first resort, last resort. But never let it be that the party is reading the akhand part and no one is listening. Now, I remember a friend of mine from another Gurdwara, they said the dad used to say to them, sit down, listen to Guru Granth Sahib, listen to the akhand part in case the party is messing about. He used to get the kids to listen to it by getting them to say that they were keeping an eye on the party. But nowadays what happens is, Maharaj the part ho raha haiga and it's off. No one can hear it. He says here that's wrong. Someone should be listening to it at all times. And the party, whoever's doing the part, should be given nice food and clothing as per your means. You don't have to go outside your means, go into debt to do that, but you should give them, you know, serve them properly. And there's no need for a jot or for water or coconut. There's no need for a part to be read alongside, okay? And there's no need for other bani to be read in intervals. Some people do this kind of sampath part. They go like one shabad. Whenever Nanak comes up, they'll read some other shabad and they'll go back to it. It says that doesn't need to be done, you know. Okay, then it says, how do you start an akhand part or a sahaj part? Same way we just talked about. Have Karah Prashaad ready. Do Chhe Padi Vanand Sahib. Do Ardas. Take Hukamnama. Okay, and then start with Japji Sahib. For the sahaj part, if you're going to do a akhand part, obviously start. And then you don't stop until it's finished. Akhand part means unbroken part. Akhand. Khand means to break. Akhand means unbroken. At the end, this is very key, Sangat Ji, because funnily enough, after this is going to be an AKJ program. So I think I'll raise this right now. At the end of the Sahaj part or the Akhand part, it says you can finish at either Mandavni Mahalla Panjwa or you can finish at Ragmala. It's your choice, okay? Depending upon the tradition which is in that place already, okay? So if you're going to an AKJ Gurdwara and they finish at Mandavni, there's no need to stand up and say, no, that's wrong. Yeah, it says here, because there's a difference of opinion in the Panth, because people have got different views, then people shouldn't argue about this. That's what it says. Okay, it's a very enlightened document, if you can say. We can agree to disagree. Okay, but it says, no sarup of Guru Granth Sahib Ji should ever be printed without Ragmala inside it. Okay, because no one's decided, you can stop, but you shouldn't print Sarupa Maharaj or write a Sarupa Maharaj without Ragmala. And there have been people that have been called to your Akaal Takth for doing this. Okay? They've been punished as well. Because it says here that that's not what we would do. So agree to disagree, but still put Ragmala in. And it says that after the Pog, you do Anand Sahib, Ardas, Hukamnama, and distribute the Karah Prashaad. And after that Pog, you can give what you like to either Guru and Sahib Ji like Rumalli, or you can give to the Panth. It's not necessary that you always have to buy Rumalli. You can give to the Panth as well. Same thing. Guru Granth, Guru Panth. The two parts of the Guru. It goes into Karah Prashaad as well, how to make Karah Prashaad. If you didn't know, it's written in there. Basically, it's a third of flour, a third of sugar, and a third of desi ghee, and it's all cooked together with water. While you make it, you have to do Gurbani, it says. Some people read Japji Sahib, some people read Anand Sahib, but Gurbani should be read while you're making it. Then after you've made it, cover it with cloth, bring it to Sangat, do Anand Sahib that part, Chhe Padi Anand Sahib, and then do Ardas and Kirpan Pog of the Prashaad. But before you give it to Sangat, it says you must give 5 portions to the Panch Pyare. Now, if you're in a Sangat where there are Amritaris sitting there, then you take 5 portions out, you distribute it to 5 Amritaris. If you can't find 5 Amritaris in that Sangat, take the 5 out and then put them back in. Okay, that's what it says. And then you have to put a separate portion aside for the person who's sitting at Tabi of Maharaj. And then give it to everybody very clearly without distinguishing between high or low or caste. Give it to everybody equally. Because some people, you know, when they're giving Karah Prashaad out, even sometimes then, they can think, I don't like that person, I'm going to give them less. That's not the way it's meant to happen. It's Prashaad, it's Guru's Prashaad. It's not our job to decide. It's Maharaj's Prashaad. He gives us air, we know, without judging us. So we should not judge either. And it says, in Gurdwara, Katha, next, should only be carried out by a Sikh. And the aim of Katha is to explain Gurmat. It's not to cuss people. If I came on here and decided my Katha consisted of just cussing all the people I didn't like, that's not Katha. It's about Gurmat. Okay? And it says that the Katha can be of any of the writings of the 10 Gurus. Okay? That's not just the writings from Guru Granth Sahib Ji. Any of the writings of the 10 Gurus can be Katha. It says, Das Guru Sahiban di Bani, or Pai Gurdas, or Pai Nandal. Or, for example, of a generally accepted Panthic book, like Panth Prakash, or some other TK. You can talk about those, which are Gurmat Anusar, alongside Gurmat. But you can't do Katha of a book which is against Gurmat. So we couldn't sit here and start doing Katha of, say, I don't know, the Bible, for example. The Bible might not agree with Gurmat, so we're not going to do Katha of Bible here, we're going to do Gurmat Katha. And then it says that in a Gurdwara, basically you have Prakash, Kirtan Katha, Anand Sahib, Ardas, Jakara, and then Fateh, and then Hukamnama. We all know that, but it's just written it down in case we forget or we get lost a little bit. Okay, then it says, what is it to be living in Gurmat? Section 4, Gurmat di Rehni. How is it to live in Gurmat? This lovely chapter here. It says clearly, a Sikh's life, their earning, their thinking, and their actions. These 3 things. The whole thing should be according to Gurmat. Everything is according to Gurmat. We worship only one Akaal Purkh, no one else. And that mukti, for us, mukti only comes from the 10 Gurus, Guru Granth Sahib Ji, or the Bani of the 10 Gurus. It says it clearly separately, Guru Granth Sahib Ji, or the Bani of the 10 Gurus as well. So if you did read Dasam Bani, we're expecting it to liberate us as well. We're not expecting that to do nothing for us. It's got Jot. That's why Amrit is made from that Bani as well. If Amrit is basically Mukti, then it comes from Dasam Bani as well. It says that a Sikh must accept all 10 Gurus as one light. Very clearly. You can't decide, which happens nowadays. The first 5 Gurus I like. I'm not sure about the next 5. That is against Gurmat. Gurmat means all 10 Gurus are one light. Then it says, don't pay attention to these things. Or go to the things that we're supposed to ignore. They might be real, but we don't pay attention to them. We got something more powerful. So Maharaj says, don't pay attention to caste or untouchability. Don't pay attention to magic or spells, jadoo tuna, all this kind of stuff. Don't ignore it. Special days, special stars, horoscopes, giving food to the Brahmin for your dead people, giving away food to people so that because somebody dies, you think, I'll give some food away. It will satisfy the hunger of the dead person. It doesn't make any sense. Keeping a jot for 360 days after the death, keeping a little tuft of hair on the head, shaving the rest, fasting, wearing threads, worshipping at graves or monuments. We can't worship at a grave. Guru Gobind Singh Ji once tested the Khalsa as well. They specifically went to a grave of a Peer and Matha Tek to see what the Khalsa would do. And the Khalsa picked up Guru Gobind Singh Ji on it. He said, Tusi Kyasi, you can't do this. And they were given a punishment from the Khalsa as well. Okay? Maharaj wanted to see whether we're prepared to become the Guru. The Khalsa is supposed to be the Guru Khalsa. But if it can't chastise another Khalsa, what's the point of it? Yeah? And Guru Gobind Singh Ji was also a Khalsa. Okay? It says that any sacred spots apart from Guruji are not for us. Wherever Guru went, that's important to us. Where they didn't go, fine. Not important for us. No idol worship is allowed. no Muslim priests, Brahmins, no Vedas, no Shastras, no Gayatri Mantra, no Gita, no Quran, no Bible. Basically, Gurbani is the key thing for us, yeah? But we can study this. It says you can study those books for education. Nothing wrong with them. Don't feel, oh, what's that guy reading Gayatri Mantra for? He's just reading it to understand it. That's fine. Okay, the Khalsa, it says, should be distinct. But, very nicely, it says, do not hurt the sentiments of somebody from the religion. You don't have to go up to some Muslim and say, your prophet, all this stuff, yeah? That stuff we don't want to do. What's the point? All it's going to do is give you ego. Did you make Sikhi? No. So why are you having such an ego over it? If Maharaj didn't have it, so why should we have it? So it says, before any other work, before you start anything important, always do ardas to Ik Akaal Purukh. The one who's the Karta Purukh. He's the doer, so he can make it happen. Yeah? We do believe that God can intervene in the earth. Some people think, is there any point of doing ardas? If everything's all hukam, what's the point of doing ardas? That's not the way it works. Do ardas and then be thankful. Yeah? Whatever happens, it was his hukam anyway, but be thankful. It says that learning Gurmukhi is essential, as we said, but we should learn other wisdom as well. But a Sikh should always teach their kid about Sikhi. So the Waheguru course we're going to set up, it's going to start in May hopefully. That's for adults. Adults that can go on and teach their kids. What we do nowadays is we teach the kids in all the camps, and they go home and their parents are not interested. Yeah? So it hurts the kids' sentiments. So let's start with the adults maybe, and that will bring it into the kids' life as well. It does say that a Sikh should never cut the hair of their children. Okay? If you got a child, that's why you see a lot of families in India, you'll have a Munna parent and the child will have a Judah. I had that for like 11 years of my life. My dad was Munna, but I had a Judah. Because a Sikh shouldn't cut the hair of their child. Okay? Let them decide when they're old enough what they want to do. But keep their hair when they're young. And it says that we should not only do that, but also add Singh or Kaur to their name. Okay? Some people say, why add Singh or Kaur? It says you should do. Should give them that name. And that they should be, for a Sikh, we shouldn't be intaking anything but food. So basically, alcohol, drugs, all these things are not right for us. Opium, cannabis, alcohol, tobacco, we don't need it. And a Sikh shouldn't pierce their ears or their nose. Very key here, no Sikh should ever kill their daughter. Look at Punjab now. Huh? Worst rates of female infanticide in the whole of India. This is where the religion specifically says no female infanticide allowed. Maadi gal hegi hai. You know, I wonder what Guru Sahib is thinking about us right now. He's probably pretty annoyed. You know, he's written it down, made it very obvious, but still we're doing it. Kudi maar is one of the worst crimes in Sikhi. We'll come to that later on. Now it says that a Sikh should regard the poor person's mouth as the golak. So a Sikh should earn honestly, justly, but any poor person, if you feed that mouth, that's giving to golak. Golak isn't just here, it's buying giving a sandwich to some poor person. Same thing. And we should never make friends with any thief. We should never gamble. Stay away from people that do that, because they're going away from Gurmat Rahni. A Sikh should always regard another person's daughter as their daughter, should always regard another person's wife as their mother. Never look at another person's wife. We would never look at our mother in those eyes. So then the same thing we apply to anybody else's wife. And that a Sikh only has their wife as their partner. Okay? So we basically don't mess around. You know, living within marital loyalty is important. And Sikh women are also obviously supposed to follow these rules. And we follow these rules from birth to death. It's not like at some point we decide, yeah, we can have a chutti from Gurmat for a year, come back to it. No, you follow this your whole life. Okay? We should say Fateh when we see another Sikh. That's important. And that Sikh women should never be veiled up or covered up. And that a Sikh male, it's not compulsory for women to wear the star, it says here, but that a Sikh male should always have the star and kashera. All else dress, obviously they can wear pant, suit, whatever you want to wear, but kashera and the star are key things. Okay, we've got about 10 minutes left. I'll try to get through some of the ceremonies. The first one is about the naming ceremony. Now, the naming ceremony is basically when the child is born, when I pick up a name, we come to Gurdwara to do it. They say, prepare Karah Prashaad at home. Not come to Gurdwara, pay the money for it. Make it at home, come to Gurdwara, and do Kirtan, take a Hukamnama after Ardas, and then with the first letter of that Hukamnama, choose a name from that, and then you add sing or call to that. And then again, after you've chosen the name, it's all agreed, then do Anand Sahib and do Ardas to thank Maharaj, and then distribute that Prashaad that you brought along. Okay? There's no pollution of a woman due to birth. Some religions in India believe this to be true, that after a woman gives birth, for so many days or months, she's impure. We don't have that idea, yeah? Sutak is what it's called. We don't agree with that. There's no pollution in giving birth. It's just a normal process of life. It's like breathing. The same thing, it happens. Okay? And then it says, obviously, some people do baby Amrit as well. Yeah, you might have heard of that. They just do some chula, Amrit chula for the baby. But that's not part of the naming ceremony. Okay? You can do that if you want. Some people read Japji Sahib and they do the kirpan and they give Amrit to the child from that. These are all things separate from the naming ceremony. Okay? You can do those if you like, but the 3 sanskars given in here are the naming sanskar, the death sanskar, and the anand sanskar. Okay, the marriage ceremony, Anand Karaj. This is important because tomorrow there's going to be a show on BBC Asia Network about those things that are starting to stop the marriage between Sikhs and non-Sikhs, the mixed race. So I'll just cover this quickly. What it says is, firstly, a Sikh should marry without any regard to caste or descent. Okay, so Jat Path is not important to us. We know that, but actually sometimes it's the elder population that holds us back from following Sikhi. The younger lot don't care really. They're accountants and lawyers. It didn't matter what to them what their caste is. And then it says that a Sikh's daughter must be married to a Sikh. Now this is important because it's giving respect to women. People say this is controlling women. What it's saying is that women in Sikhi are valued. They're educated in Sikhi, right? And all that education, that value on that woman, she's going to pass over to her children, obviously. So she should be married to a Sikh, so the kids can be brought up as a Sikh. If the father's not a Sikh, then what's she going to do to the kids? She's going to be fighting against the father to give them that knowledge. So we value our women, we educate them. And then it says that there should be no child marriage. And that a Sikh should do Anand Karaj. You can't just choose, you should do Anand Karaj. A Sikh should do. And it says that, obviously, with no child marriage, by the way, this is revolutionary because obviously in some religions like Hinduism, Islam, Judaism, you can do child marriage. We can't. They should be of a certain age to decide. When the girl is ready, then the marriage is done. If there is an engagement, we don't have to give massive presents of an Audi and all that kind of stuff, yeah? It's just a kirpan, a kada, and then do Karah Prashaad when you come to Gurdwara. Okay? No horoscopes are allowed, yeah? No calling up Pandit and saying, can you read our Jyot Shri and get all that right? That's not important to us, okay? Things not allowed, painting faces, red thread around the waist, worshipping our ancestors, washing the feet in the milk, having a havan, having prostitutes dancing, alcohol, simple kind of stuff. Stay in Sikhi, that's what it's saying. Keep it simple. Now it says the party for the wedding should be as small as the girl's family want it to be. Not the boy's family, because mostly the girl's family tend to pay for the wedding, yeah? So keep it simple as much as the girl's family can afford. Then it goes on to what happens in a milni. People come together, they sing Kirtan, they say Fateh, and the marriage then should happen in a Gurdwara in Sangat. First, there's Kirtan. Then the girl sits on the left-hand side of the boy. Then what happens is, somebody who is the person who's going to arrange the whole marriage, master of ceremonies, let's call him that person, could be male or female. They're now going to stand up and tell the couple what is marriage in Gurmat. This hardly ever happens, by the way. They always do it afterwards. This is supposed to happen beforehand. They're supposed to be told that in Sikhi, the husband-wife relationship, is important, is modeled upon the relationship of the Paramatma and the Atma. Okay? So that's a marriage. The Atma marries, our soul marries the Supreme Soul. In the same way, the two husband and wife are supposed to be doing the same thing. So, this is given in the Lama. Lama explains this, the Char Lama of Guru Ramdas Ji. They explain this. We can merge through love with Waheguru. And that this one soul in two bodies is the concept that we're trying to achieve here. So it's a joint aim to live in Gurmat and go towards Waheguru. That's the point of the Anand Karaj, that we agree to this concept, that we are trying as human beings to merge with Waheguru, and we do that now as a couple. No longer as single individuals, we do it as a couple. And that the groom is supposed to be told, for the men, this is what they're supposed to be told, that your wife is your better half. Okay? You should give her unflinching love, which means loyalty. Okay? Be very loyal, like a solid rock. Okay? Share with her everything. Basically, trust her with everything you have. Okay? Don't hold back. And protect her physically and protect her honor, her izzat. Okay? Be completely loyal and show respect for her family and her wider friends as you would do your own. This is what it says then for the wife. It says here, you have to respect your husband. Men sometimes don't particularly need love, they need more respect sometimes, yeah? It says, respect your husband. He is the owner of your love and your trust. Be loyal, serve him in joy or sorrow, here or abroad, and respect his family as your own family. Quite sensible advice, yeah? Then it says that the couple should Matha Tek when they accept these instructions, that this is what they understand. And then the palla of the groom, he's carrying something like this, is given by the groom's, the bride's father to the bride. So she's holding it. The couple stand up, and then the granthi is supposed to read out the first lav while they are standing up. Okay? They listen to it. Then, as soon as they've listened to it, then they basically go around Guru Granth Sahib Ji with the boy leading and the lady following. They go around, and then they Matha Tek at the end. They accept that first lav, and then they stand up, listen to the next lama. They don't sit down, they stand up. It's a bit like ardas, you know, the couple's ardas, when the family stands up. So those people are the people that are being told this. The Sangat isn't getting married, just them two. So they stand up and they listen to it. Now people say, why does the boy lead? Our Islamic friends always say this is like discrimination. Yeah, I've heard this question loads of times. It's a very simple answer to this. Okay, men and women are equal in Sikhi, right? But Sikhi doesn't say they're equal. They're equal, but they're not the same. There's obviously difference between males and women, as per hukum of Waheguru. But they're going around a linear point. Guru Granth Sahib Ji is one place. They're going around. It's not possible for two things to go around one spot at the same place. Either they're going to be side by side, one's going to be closer, or they're going to be one behind the other. Right? So they have to do it that way anyway. So what Maharaj is saying is not that the man is superior. What he's saying is, right, you could look at it either way, that the woman is holding on to the man, yeah, or the man is leading the woman. Either way, there's a symbiotic relationship there. And women often hold back men from doing silly things as well. So that might be a good important thing there as well. What it says then is that the hymn that we read out beforehand, it doesn't say it here, but the hymn is Hom Palle Tande Lagi. So the female is singing that, right? I'm holding your palla. So obviously the hukum is somebody has to be at the front, and Guru Sahib is teaching us in Bani that the woman is saying to the husband, Lord, I'm holding on to your palla. So we'll just follow that hukum. Somebody will have to be at the front because it's at one point. After the four lava, the couple sit down, listen to Anand Sahib, then there's ardas, and that's the marriage done. Now they say that, it says here specifically, nobody but a Sikh can get married by the Anand Karaj. Why is that? Okay, interfaith marriage goes against Sikhi for this reason. Okay, you can get blessed as a couple. You can come to Gurdwara, do ardas, and have Hukamnama. But the Anand Karaj Act is a voluntary ceremony. It's not enforced upon you. You choose it. The birth naming ceremony, you don't choose. You're a baby. The death ceremony, you don't choose because you're dead. The two things you can choose are Anand Karaj and Amrit. Those are the choice ones. Okay, and each of them come with their own set of rules and instructions. They're meant to teach you something about life. You're committing to Guru Granth Sahib Ji. You're going around Guru Granth Sahib Ji. You're saying, I'm going to make you, Maharaj, the focus of my life. The two of us are committing to walk upon this path to merge with Waheguru as a pair. But if one person is not a Sikh, how can they make that commitment? They're not following this path to become one with Waheguru. They could be following some other path. So Maharaj is saying that's pakhand. It's very simple. Gurbani says, Jin man hor, mukh hor se kande kachya. Those who have one thing in their mind and one thing in their mouth, they are found to be false. So Sikhi is about being true, keeping it real, if you might want to say, yeah? It's not keeping it real to walk around Guru Granth Sahib Ji when you don't believe in Guru Granth Sahib Ji. It's not good enough to just Matha Tek when you don't believe in Maharaj. Okay? So in that definition though, a lot of people might think, well actually I shouldn't be doing Ankaraj. They don't believe in Waheguru, they don't believe in Guruji, maybe they shouldn't do an Ankaraj. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay? Because an Ankaraj is an act of commitment to follow these rules. And to give you the kind of extreme example, imagine if someone came to an Amrit Sanchar to give company to their girl as well. Imagine that. If a guy comes along, takes Amrit and goes home and shaves. We wouldn't allow that, would we? So how can we allow them to come to Gurdwara and do Nand Karaj but have no idea of following through with what they're committed to? So we should stick to lack of hypocrisy in a Gurdwara, and that itself making an interfaith marriage happen and insisting that it should happen. It's my right to have an interfaith marriage. That's basically saying that it's your right to do hypocrisy in front of Guru Granth Sahib Ji. And we don't have that right. Okay? Sikhi is about keeping it true, real. So if you don't believe in it, just get a blessing, do Hukamnama. Okay? You don't have to go through this whole sham of trying to get the person to follow around something they don't believe in. And then it says that no Sikh should ever accept money to marry their child off to somebody. And the girl's parents should be able to visit the boy's parents, the boy's side, and eat there. There's no this kind of thing where, you know, I can't eat at the boy's house because it's wrong, that kind of thing. Akaal say the Sikh has been given this idea of langar, so we should just become equal. And it says specifically that it's a relationship of equality. The boy and the girl side are equal. It's not the girl side is indebted to the boy because they married and took the daughter. It's equal. Okay? And if you're widowed, you can remarry. And if your remarriage that has to happen, it can be by Anand Karaj as well. And basically it says that an Amritari Sikh should try and get their wife to be Amritari. So it's not necessary when you go to Amrit Sanchar that you have to bring your wife with you. Okay? The Panj Pyare didn't turn up with their wives in tow. If you need to take Amrit, okay, then take Amrit for yourself. And then try and get your partner to take it. But Amrit is very important. If you take it for yourself, you'll bless your whole family. It's not the other way around, that your family will be, oh, why didn't they take it? If you take Amrit, you'll bless your whole family. But you can marry somebody who's not an Amritari if you are Amritari. Okay? Obviously, you stay within that marriage rules. The funeral ceremony now. This is the one guaranteed ceremony coming our way, yeah? No one's going to get away from this ceremony, the funeral ceremony. So we might as well find out what's going to happen. Okay, it says that don't put the dead body on the floor. Keep it on a plank or something. And then there should be no need to have a jyot to be lit, you know, to remember that person. There's no need to give a cow to the Brahmin. This was one way that the Brahmin used to guarantee getting a lot of money. As soon as somebody died, they say you should give a cow to the Brahmin, then that person will get blessed in the next life. Yeah, that's a very good way. It's one of those scams, isn't it, out there, right? So we don't have to do that. It says that the only thing we should do is read Gurbani or say Waheguru. If you can't read Bani, saying Waheguru is important as well. There should be no screaming, no pulling the hair, no beating ourselves in the chest. All this is basically saying that you don't accept the hukum. Well, we say hukum rajai chalna. Nanak likhya naal. So our job is to accept the hukum. Our job is to accept the hukum of Maharaj. And the hukum is you have to go, then the hukum is we have to go. Then it says, even if you're very young, you should be cremated. It's not the case that the very young don't have to be cremated. No matter if it's a fetus or a little baby just born, you know, if it didn't pass away, then it has to be cremated. If we cannot though, if you're on a boat, you can be just thrown out into sea. There's no real reason to focus upon the body, because the jyot is gone as soon as death happens. It doesn't matter if the funeral happens at day or night. What we should do is put clean clothes on the body, put the 5 Ks on the body, okay, or keep them. If they had them, then keep the 5 Ks on the body, don't take them off. And then obviously we do ardas to send the body away when they get together. It says then at that point then we should sing kirtan. Kirtan which is about detachment from life. Okay? And then at the cremation ground, we do another ardas for the body to be burnt. When the body is being burnt and the sun can light the fire, or, as we do it traditionally, it's the sun. But after that, when the Kirtan soila is red, it's basically when the fire is at full. When it's burning properly, that's when they're doing the Kirtan soila. So it's slightly different from how we do it nowadays, because we've got cremation. So we normally do Kirtan soila beforehand. Because after that, it's going to be like 2 minutes and the body will be gone. But normally, obviously, in those days, and I've seen this myself when my grandfather passed away, in India, the fire burns for a long time. And they do Kirtan soila when the fire is burning. There's no need to burst the skull. Some people think you have to burst the skull to let the jot out. That's not what we believe. And that the part should be red. Then it says after the funeral, there should be a Saj part done. In 10 days, the whole Guru Granth Sahib Ji should be read from beginning to end. Normally nowadays we do it before the funeral, but those days it used to be after. The family used to get together and do together read the whole Guru Granth Sahib Ji. And they said this should be done by the family and the friends, not just by a party. And there should be kirtan every evening. So during the day there's part, in the evening there should be kirtan for 10 days, and at the 10th day then is basically finished, and the ashes are then put into any flowing water. You don't have to go to Ganga, you don't have to go to Gurdwara or those places. Any place where there's water is fine for the ashes. If you can't find that, then you can just get rid of them. But there should be no kind of monument to the dead person. We don't believe in this place where there's a monument. The body is just like a kapda for us. Karmi ave kapda, nadri mokh dwar. So the kapda is gone. Another kapda will come, or mukti will come. That's it. There's no need to worry about the kapda too much. Okay, and then basically any other point, when you're happy or sad, or you want to do anything, what it says is, do ardas, Hukamnama. 6 pauri of Anand Sahib is enough to do ardas. Do 6 pauri Anand Sahib, then do ardas and take a Hukamnama. Guru Sahib will bless you with their mat. Many, many times in my life, other Guru Sikhs' lives, say you're going to start something, you got an idea, you think, should we do it or not? That's a good thing to do. Just take Maharaj's advice. Do 6 pauri Anand Sahib, do ardas, take a hukam. You can even get Hukamnama nowadays from, Sikhi.com. There's your random shabad. And that's fine as well. Guru Sahib is everywhere. It's not like Guru Sahib can't make magic happen. They can make magic happen wherever you want. Next thing, section 5 now. What is Seva? What it says is, Seva is a very big part of Sikhi. Okay, we know that because people say Simran and Seva are like the two wings. But what it says is, Seva in a Gurdwara is supposed to be a lesson, a training ground on how to do Seva outside. It's not the end of Seva, it's the beginning of Seva. We learn it here, then we apply it outside. And the two things we learn in a Gurdwara is about serving people and also equality. Those are the two things that Langar is supposed to help us learn, and the Gurdwara is supposed to help us learn, is equality. We're all equal, and that we should serve people, without any disregard to what color, religion or caste they are. Just serve people. So this is the point of Langar. This is the point of clean the Gurdwara, clean the shoes, giving Langar. It's humility, but also equality. And then it says that in Langar, everybody is equal. Again, there can be no distinctions upon caste or color or religion. And the only two people, only Amritaris are allowed to share a plate. Okay? So you can't just share a plate with somebody who's, if you're Amritari, you can't share food with somebody who's not Amritari. And that's something that's told to you a lot in the Amrit Sanchar as well. But the reason for that is basically, the Rehat Maryada says it quite clearly, but it's supposed to be like a family. So Amritaris can share food with other Amritaris. Okay? And we'll come to that when we talk about the last part, which is about the Khalsa Panth and taking Amrit. So Sangat Ji, the last chapter, section 6, chapter 13, Tera, quite a nice chapter, that's all about the Khalsa Panth. Okay? So we'll finish that off week after next, and then because it's quite a small chapter, we'll then go into Jab Sahib, the beginning of Jab Sahib. And Maharaj Kirpa Kare, Jab Sahib is going to be something hopefully that we can go through for the next maybe 10, 12 weeks after that. So please try and turn up. It's probably something that if all the people in the Panth put their hand up honestly, they say it's one of the parts we least understand in a Jab Sahib. So we should all come together, trying to bring more people to come to that. So we'll try and go through Jab Sahib in English. ਭੁੱਲ ਚੁੱਕਾ ਦਿਖਿਆ ਬਖਸ਼ੀ ਜੀ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ।
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ 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 ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ